Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we kept going with the Chaos Undivided questline, and we should actually wrap it up today.
Inquisitor, be careful down there. The Hydra is a slippery, treacherous beast. If we don't act fast, it will recover. We must cut off its last head. Kill the leader of the traitors. No rest. No forgiveness. Glory to the Emperor.
So, when I was talking about Space Marine 2, I had mentioned E3. The funny thing is, like a day or two after I recorded that, the news came out that E3 was cancelled. And I'll admit, I'm bummed. I remember first hearing it was like, oh, Ubisoft and somebody aren't showing up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it just kept coming in that news more and more publishers were pulling out. And when the first wave had come, I had said to my friend, I bet they're gonna cancel this. I got a feeling. And then all the other studios pulled out, and I had said then, oh, they're gonna cancel it, and then they actually canceled it. And it's really disappointing, because, like, first off, I always wanted to go to E3. Either just as a consumer to go see everything, or as a developer, eventually going there and being able to present something. That was a dream of mine since getting out of high school. I wanted to go, make a game, be like, hey, this is it, guys. Be hyped. And that dream seems to be quickly slipping away. And I get it, ever since COVID, it's far more efficient to just stream. You don't need a big convention center. E3 is, at its core, a trade show. It's not Comic-Con, it's not... that's all I can think of. Like, I guess PAX or something like that, where it's a mix of, like, gaming convention and gaming showcase. So I get it. Still sucks. And the thing that kind of bugs me is, on the 8th of June, we still have Summer Games Fest. So, we lost one advertising event, and got it. We have another one in, like, the same time frame. The only thing I can imagine is Jeff Keighley probably is like, hey, show what you wanna, you don't need to really sign up for a big time slot or anything. While I imagine E3, they're like, yo, you need like 45 minutes of stuff, you gotta come on stage and do all this, or something along that line, because that would make sense, that they would pull out from one but still attend the other. Still a little butthurt. Do have to laugh at my luck of being like, oh yeah, they'll talk about it at E3, and then E3 gets cancelled right after. I got great timing with that one. But now I don't even... like, I don't know what's even going to be announced at Summer Games Fest. I just know it starts at like 1 in the afternoon Central Standard Time on a Thursday. And I had said, who the hell starts stuff at 1 in the afternoon on a Thursday? I get, like, convention-wise, I know people who actually run conventions. A friend of mine does. And she runs, like, anime conventions. And those... They always start on Fridays, but they start during the day. And that makes sense. You know, you can't have it be like, oh, it'll start 6 o'clock in the afternoon, or in the evening. Because that essentially makes that day kind of useless. But if you started, gates open noon, that gives time for like Artist Alley people or Artist Lane or whatever you want to call it. Those people to come in early, set up their tables and get their stuff positioned. You get some people who take the day off, or they can work like a half day. It makes more sense. But like a Thursday is kind of weird. But we still won't hear anything about a potential Dust sequel because CCP had to be stupid and do their convention in friggin' September. I'm still mad. I am eternally butthurt. And I'll keep saying it. They had a perfect time slot in the spring, and then they're like, nah, we gotta compete with every other convention surrounding our product. And it's like, really? Really? That's your plan? We're gonna compete with everything else instead of use our own time slot? Yeah. I'm bummed about E3. I used to hang out with one of my friends at his house, and we'd watch all the trailers and all that, and get all excited about games. I remember seeing the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood trailer with Run Boy Run by Woodkid playing. Or no, it wasn't Run Boy Run, it was Iron. That was the song they used. And both of us were like, man, this song's really good, and we were trying to find it. And then eventually, I think it was, I can't remember what album that song is on. I think it's Golden Age? I don't remember what the album title is. But we ended up both getting the album because it was that good, and there was actually a lot of good songs on it. But I don't know. That's another thing. Licensed music. I know Crime Boss Rockay City has licensed music, which is kind of cool. At least some licensed songs. But I've seen a lot of people ripping that game apart. And I'll admit, most of the complaints I don't agree with. They're like, oh, it's just shittier Payday. I'm like, it's a competitor to Payday. I'll take it at that value. The complaint I do think is legitimate is the voice acting for all the celebrities is like they did one take and went, yeah, that's good enough. Because like Michael Rooker's character, it sounds like someone recorded it in a recording studio. Where they're just like, okay, read these lines, not giving any context. They read them out and they're just like, okay, yeah, that's good, let's keep going. I think it's the character Nasara. He's so just like, there are snipers coming, that it's not even like, oh, he's the cool calculated mastermind. It's like, he's not even paying attention. And it kind of sucks, because voice acting can make or break games, and it's bad. I will admit, if you look at it in kind of a, hey, it's almost like a 90s heist movie, some kind of schlocky deal, sure, it kind of comes about in that way. And you can make that argument, and then it's kind of fun. But you also have to really hammer that point home. That's the kind of deal where it's like, if you're gonna push that, hey, it's kind of meant to be like a B-movie schlock kind of deal, you need to club people over the head with it so they know, oh, that's what this is. This isn't meant to be a serious take on anything. I mean, come on, they have Vanilla Ice in there. That alone is something where it's like, okay, yeah, we should just really hammer home a campy kind of vibe. Because who's taking Vanilla Ice seriously. The guy lifted Under Pressure by Queen so that he could make the song Ice Ice Baby. If that is not a damning bit of proof against him that you don't take him seriously, I don't know what is. He also did the ninja rap for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live-action movie in the 90s. Admittedly, as a child, I didn't know who Vanilla Ice was. And then as I got older, I'm like, oh. Then found out he ripped off Queen. I'm like, oh. I like Queen. I like Freddie Mercury. At least if you're gonna pull that crap, at least pay the man for using this song. Persistent attrition is tempting. Just being able to blind people. But the question becomes, what do we give up? Don't want to give up Puritan, because getting a regenerating shield is useful. And the damage bonus is just, that is part of the build now. Dots restore HP. You know what? Let's pass on the dots restore HP. As useful as it is, I would rather blind the enemies and cause that debuff. Sure. I mean, do I need it? Because these are the ones that I care about. Well, these two. Holy Shield and Mono-Dominant Commandments. We can always come back. Oh yeah, I was going through this. God, there's a lot of stuff I was kind of going through at different points. Critical hit chance with range skills, that's really useful. See, and I'm also, at the same time, by doing this, I'm kind of forsaking my constructs, which they always can use more attention. I mean, I can put a lot of life drain into these guys. HP on hit. Is there another construct specialization? That's what I'm looking for. Because there's got to be one of these, I think, for... Yeah, so I need to put 10 points into this for the minus 20% data flux reserve for all summoning skills. Because that should make it so I can pull more Castellans. Not the greatest, but... Because I don't need the cooldown reduction, I need this. But then I still need to burn 4 more points. So maybe just go reflect... But see, that's for Cataphren Vanguards. I guess I could put my build to have 1 Vanguard But I don't even think I use vanguards. Yeah, I use the destroyer. Because the vanguard's the melee variant. So I could use him as a tank, and then just rig up all my Castellans as ranged builds. But that's just kind of stupid. I don't know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I don't want to sit here and get bogged down in the minutia.
I have received word of your glorious work.
Yeah, I did it! Woo. Oh, Harbingers of Hate, Chaos Undivided again.
I've spent some time here, for reasons which are classified now. These silent, empty corridors were
You are in the Bibliotheca district, Inquisitor. Silence and a lack of social interference qualify as desirable parameters.
It's always important to share all the memories.
Ah. Man. God, it really sucks losing E3. It's so weird, because it's always been like an institution in gaming. For as long as I can remember, E3's always been there. And it's just kind of all getting supplanted by stuff done by Jeff Keighley. It's like he does fine work, I don't like when one person kind of becomes the de facto face of something. Because we see it here on YouTube a lot, actually, where one guy will become like the de facto face of, I don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's or Dark Souls lore, any random subject, and everyone just latches onto him. And I don't like that. Competition is good. It is what drives us. It makes us better. It hones our craft. Which actually, I saw an interesting thing just today, actually. Video, old video, like 8 months old at this point, by, I think it was Force Gaming. Interesting dude. But he was talking about, is the game industry or our games dying? And he raises the point of a lot of people like to use player counts as this big measurement. We saw this with even like, God, what was it? PC Gamer, their editor, was like, "Oh, Elden Ring's dying, see? Its player base is dropped dramatically." And it's like, no. Because the guy was honestly just being a chode and talking about Hogwarts Legacy. I believe it was Hogwarts Legacy. A bunch of people I know were pulling out Hogwarts Legacy a while back, complaining like, oh, see, the player count is so low and all this stuff, and only like 20-some% of people beat the game, ignoring the fact that it's a single-player game. There's no end game, really. There's no build variety. That once you beat the story, you're done, and that people typically don't beat games. It's one of those goofy things where you can look at trophies and player counts are weird. You'll find games where like the first trophy, especially Souls games, it'll be like, oh, beat Margit.
We don't have time for
and
chatter.
people won't have beat it. It'll be like a 66% completion rate. And you're like, wait, are you telling me out of like 20 million people?
It's an inquisitorial stronghold.
Granted, this is also PlayStation, so 20 million isn't the accurate number. If we want to be generous, let's say it's strictly 1/3 Xbox, 1/3 PlayStation, 1/3 PC players. It isn't, but we'll just, for the sake of brevity, we'll do that. Each one has like roughly 6.5 million players, and you're saying only 2/3, so 4-point-something million people managed to beat the first major story boss? It's weird, but that's how people are. That's why games front load. You know, prime example I can think of, actually a prime example is Elden Ring itself. Limgrave has tons of stuff, Caelid has tons of stuff, but then once you get further in, Liurnia, great. Leyndell outskirts, it's okay. Consecrated snowfields, mountaintops of the giants, those areas start to get real sparse. It's because they front load because they know people aren't going to get to that point. Is it right? It's economical. Do I think it should be that way? Hell no. It sucks. Because then once it gets toward the end of the game, you're sitting there going, God, there is nothing to do. That happened in Dragon Age Inquisition. Granted, Dragon Age Inquisition had the issue of I got to the point where if you play the game, you know your first hideout with like the Chantry and all that. And when Corypheus attacks it, I was like, oh, I guess we're at the end of the game, finally. Because I had done so much, cleared out every area, did every side quest, did all that. And then they're just like, oh, no, now you move to the actual Inquisition Keep. And I'm like, wait, we're not done? I thought this was just like your hub zone. So it's weird. Games front load and it can get weird and awkward for player numbers. But in the video, a point was made that when you look at it, God, what is it? Division has lost like 90-some% of its players. For Honor's lost like 95% of their players. Statistically, when you look at the numbers, PUBG has lost around 95% of its numbers compared to its peak. Its peak on Steam for 1 point was at 3 million concurrent players. And they're down to like 300 and some thousand people as their peaks. Is that dead? If you compare the number, yeah. But outside of that, 300,000 people is very good at any given point. There are developers who would sell their soul for that kind of number. But so, I had raised a point just in the comments about it. And I said the problem when you look at the industry is you can find stuff that supports or rejects any bias or anything you're looking for. You want to go off those numbers? Sure, gaming looks dead. You want to go off of the market value of gaming? It's over $107 billion industry right now. It bounced back almost $10 billion from last year. Well, that would say it's doing really well. You look at the number of major studios or major games coming out. It looks terrible. The numbers have dropped dramatically. The number of games for console keeps going down. If you look at the just number of games in any genre, it looks bad. The way I would describe the industry is it's okay. It could be doing a lot better, but it could also be doing a lot worse. I'm definitely on the I wish it was doing better camp. Because I just like more games and more variety. But I also understand the industry has started to shift away from single purchase games and more into live service. Which, I mean, I've talked about before, but I'll talk about it again. I find it very bad to do so, simply because with stuff like battle passes, it becomes very predatory, relies heavily on FOMO. It's just not fun. The grind becomes the goal. And people have said, games feel like a job. And there is a difference between good grind, healthy grind, or a bad, unhealthy grind. Prime example is Destiny, with like the transmogging. How long it takes to get transmogs. I don't remember if they have ever changed it since last I heard, where it was going to take like 10 years, people were estimating, to get all the transmogs, and that was if nothing new was added. And if you look at that, let's say they even cut it in half. 5 years to get all the transmogs at the point that transmogging had come out. That's still not a good system. That is extremely punishing. I know for the crafting, it was really grindy. That's bad grind. Casually playing like Diablo? Or even this? Yeah, fun grind. Yeah, I'd like to get more Demon Forge or Holy gear, but I just kind of have fun playing, not really caring too much. I can always find, an Archaeotech relic and be excited. I'm not so laser focused of like, I need to get a Demon Forged Plasma Caliber Alpha, let's say, where it's so directed that it becomes unfun. But yeah, the industry is weird. We're in a weird place. I never changed inoculator components. I'm too lazy, and it's like, I could probably do something wonky with Necro Serum, but I don't care. That passive point, though. Oh, it's literally just skill point. Oh, you can go down this way, okay. I can make a case for it. Yeah, let's do it. No. We'll do that, and let's look. I don't think that knocked down the cost of that at all. But we'll keep it regardless, because that's useful. Just to make calling those turrets cheaper.
I have a pleasant You took your time, Inquisitor.
The whole system is under attack.
Just mark me the bloodiest help.
We'll just knock out all this gear and do a quick run through. Nah, that kind of sucks. Self-destruct skill for Castellans. I'm not exactly planning on using that too much. So, a case can be made if I build a Cataphren Vanguard and then run all Castellans. You know what? No, because we're not going to run Cataphrons, because if we run 3 Castellans and our Healy turret, we're peaked out there, so that's not worth it. XP boost, not bad. But I kind of need the data flux still. Hey, the plasma caliber I'm looking for. Effectiveness of vulnerability. Critical damage. And slow and critical. I do lose loot quantity. See, now we're in a weird spot because I could then run that. And then run this because I still get all my summon slots. You know, let's do it. Let's get ambitious. Because now if we check it, yep, still got everybody. If I kept the one thing, I could knock that in and have even more stuff. We will keep the Techno Martyr girdle for now. We'll keep it in storage. We might be able to do something cool with it. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.